Welcome to episode 210 of the Daniel Yoris podcast. Chat about microplastics and seed oils. Let's go. Maybe it's my own algorithms and being in the esoteric health world and being interested in these things and what some might call the fringe of health and fitness. But it seems to me like talks of microplastics, seed oils, environmental toxins, whether tap water is safe, and all this kind of stuff and related things are becoming more and more prevalent and more mainstream. Now, none of these things are new by any means, and they've been talked about for a long time, but quietly, and it's not that cool. But sometimes people can make them seem really scary and like a really big deal, and sometimes people can dismiss them completely. And like most things, the real answer lies somewhere in the middle. So now that they're becoming more mainstream and becoming more top of mind, wanted to talk about it, of course, and give kind of my take on the whole matter. And really, I'll pose it as the question is, should you care about these things? Should you care about microplastics? Should you care about seed oils? Should you care about environmental toxins and endocrine disruptors and your tap water and all these things? Should you care? The short answer is maybe, but probably not. The medium answer is probably not, and mostly because you have bigger, more important things to worry about in regards to your health, more likely than not. But once those things are sort of taken care of, then you can start to tweak and play around with these smaller things that definitely still matter, and you can pay attention to them. And the long answer is why podcasts exist. So here we go. All these things are kind of just in the news, right? And the things that get attention in the news and on social media are things that sound big and scary or extreme in some way. And that is just the way that things work. Now, the reality, as I said before, is just not that sexy. Like, if we use basic logic here, if all of these things were going to kill you and super bad and super dangerous, then like we would all just be dead by now. Like, that would be the result of it. But clearly, I mean, we're not. So they're not completely deadly, and they're not going to kill you tomorrow if you have, drink out of a plastic water bottle or something like that. So it's obviously not that extreme. But people can make people can make that argument and make it sound like it's that bad. And now a lot of these people are fully just grifters. Like, they know that. They know the extent of, or the lack thereof, of how dangerous these things are. And they will try and sell you various products, courses or whatever. And so there's that. Now we obviously don't like that, but that is just part of the world. Part of this is probably also the whole like Make America Healthy Again movement, which is like fine. It's well intentioned for sure. Of course, making people healthy is good, but like anything, there are some problems, and I will talk about some of those things more in regards to like the seed oil things like in a little bit. So the answer is, but to play the other side of it, while it's not going to kill us and it's not like super dangerous and super, worrisome and all that stuff, it doesn't mean that it's doing nothing either. Like, there are some effects of these things. Their effect is greater than 0, but it's not 100 type of thing. And so there are things to consider. Now, unfortunately, you do have bigger things to worry about, more likely than not, in the rest of your life for sure, but even just in regards to your health. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if you're, 42% body fat, none of these things matter even a little bit to you at all. Like, that is far and away your biggest concern in regards to your health and trying to improve your health and fitness, is being less fat and having more muscle. That is going to solve most of the problems, quote unquote, with your health and related to anything else that we're going to talk about today. So if that's you, like, you can listen to this, of course, and start to take some steps, but at the same time, like, you got to take care of the things that actually matter. Now, the other side of that is that the way that you take care of these big things that actually matter, right? Being less obese, having a little bit more muscle mass, and moving better and exercise and all that stuff, that is more or less the same way that you're going to handle these small things anyways. So this is why I'm always so big on moving the big rocks as a proverbial thing, moving the big rocks, like making sure you're getting your exercise, making sure you're eating healthy, making sure you're taking care of your sleep, because then that is going to take care of most of the little stuff anyways. So if you can do that, you focus on those things, that's going to actually move the needle for your health, and it's going to take care of these little things that matter, but like not that much type of thing. So what we're going to talk about is kind of three categories of things, and they'll all kind of feed into one another. We'll talk about seed oils, we'll talk about microplastics, and then we'll talk about environmental toxins and endocrine disruptors, and I'll explain what that is, and that covers like an umbrella of a lot of different things there. So seed oils. Pretty much all of the scientific evidence, to my knowledge, and to those people who are smarter than me and better versed in science and updated with it, says that they aren't particularly harmful. And again, we can use some base logic to start to paint this picture and understand this. There are other countries outside of Canada and the US and North America that have a high consumption of seed oils, and they don't have all of the same health issues. So when we're looking at whether something is good or bad, we have to say, well, if this thing is present, then we should expect, a Y result. It begs the question, if this is not true, then what is it that's going on here? By my observation, there are a lot of confounding variables that are associated with seed oils. If you're consuming a lot of seed oils, you are more likely than not also consuming a lot of fast food, a lot of highly ultra-processed packaged food, and generally things that we would consider to be unhealthy. You're probably also consuming more calories overall because of these seed oils are more often found in, again, highly processed, highly calorie dense foods. And so you're just eating more overall. And so then it begs the question, is the problem the seed oils? Or is the problem that you're just simply eating too much? And that is the thing that's leading to obesity and to the rest of the issues that are associated with that, because obesity is basically a risk factor for essentially every single disease that you can think of. So you're probably just way overeating if you are in North America and you are eating a ton of calories, eating a ton of seed oils, versus a place like, it's a good example here, maybe a place like Japan. They probably eat a decent amount of seed oils as well. However, they use the oils to cook foods rather than having it in the highly processed things that are more prevalent in North America. So none of this, exists in isolation, right? If you buy whole foods at the grocery store, you go to the grocery store and you buy chicken and rice and broccoli and whole foods, there's no seed oils in that. And so that's a way to avoid it. Now, if you're looking to packaged foods, frozen meals, highly processed things, instant, whatever, super flavorful stuff, and basically any like snack food or, cookies, chips, junk stuff that we can kind of blanket term that as junk stuff without thinking too hard about like, well, what is junk food? Like, we all know what junk food is. If you're eating those things, you're consuming a lot of seed oils. And so again, is the seed oils the problem, or is the rest of the thing associated with those seed oils the problem? And so this is where, some of like the Make America Healthy Again movement is like, yeah, it's founded in good intentions, I think. I don't know all the details of it, so to be fair. But I saw one thing where RFK was eating, or I don't know if it was him. It probably was him. And there was some fast food chain in the U.S. I don't remember which one it was. And they were gloating about how they're now cooking their French fries in beef tallow rather than whatever seed oils they used to fry them in. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, certainly that would change the flavor. And to me, it sounds like it might taste a little bit better. I've never had fries fried in beef tallow, but I don't know. It sounds like it tastes a little bit better. But like, is this healthier? The research would suggest that it's not. And then overall, like, if you're still eating so much fast food, like fries cooked in beef tallow versus fries cooked in seed oil, I don't know the difference in calories there. There's probably a slight difference in calories up on the beef tallow side. So you're still consuming more calories. And if you're regularly eating this, you're more likely to be overweight because you're just eating more calories. And so is that like actually going to solve any issues? Like, yeah, it will reduce the consumption of seed oils. But again, it seems like the consumption of seed oils on their own is not the issue. It's all of the associated foods and behaviors that go along with it. So I'm not sold that it's actually going to do anything by replacing all of the seed oils, because if you just replace all of the the vegetable oil that you cook the fries in with beef tallow and you just keep eating French fries, I can't see a way where that genuinely solves an issue. It just doesn't compute. And I think that this is I'd be surprised. I'd be extremely surprised. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. If they do that and it goes through, which I don't think it will for logistical reasons, I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think that I am, because you can currently avoid seed oils if you want. Like I said, the seed oil being available in the food or being put into foods is like, yeah, it is put into a lot of things, and there are a lot of questionable ingredients, and that's a separate thing. There are a lot of questionable ingredients as far as like dyes and preservatives and all that stuff. But seed oils alone, again, you can pretty easily avoid these things on your own if you just don't buy things that are ultra processed and otherwise junk food. You stick to your basic whole foods. You can cook them in seed oils if you want, like countries like Japan might do, and they're overwhelmingly pretty healthy. And they seem to not have an issue with the seed oils. So if you're buying whole foods and using seed oils to cook them, which I guess like personally I don't do that. I don't like the taste of it. Doesn't whatever. It's not how I grew up eating food and cooking food. But you definitely could. It would probably be fine as long as your calories are controlled for and you're otherwise eating, nutrient dense food. You're probably going to be okay for. So the thing to do, the action step here, is not to necessarily worry about avoiding seed oils, but probably more so to worry about including or opting for eat healthy whole foods, which, like I said at the beginning, you should be doing that anyways for thousands of other reasons, and that will solve most of your nutrition problems. It solves the seed oil problem if you want to get away from those, and you'll probably more likely be able to lose weight or manage your weight if you're doing that anyways. So eat healthy whole foods. Shocker, I know, crazy, wild advice here, but like that's the way to go to avoid these things and to make your life a little simpler here. So that's about all I've got to say on the seed oils. I think it's a bit of an overblown issue, and the actual issue is not the seed oil themselves, but the associated foods, calories, and activities with the seed oils. And I think that the research more or less supports that anyways. So, microplastics. Becoming more and more common. Bit of a different conversation than the seed oils. It's less popular, becoming more popular as our world is full of plastics and plastic-like things now, and the whole move to go to paper things which still have plastic in them, because you know what happens if you put water in a paper cup? It dissolves, and so you have to have plastic inside that water anyways, inside that cup anyways, so that the cup doesn't dissolve. So I don't know what we're doing here, but there's even sometimes like in here in Canada, there was like all the plastic bags were banned for a while. Actually, there still are, and you would go to the store and you didn't have a bag, and they would like sell you one, but they would like rip off a plastic wrapping of the bag to give you the bag anyways. It's like, what? And they just throw that plastic in the garbage. Like, how are we doing this? This is it's all just a display of something that's not actually doing anything to protect anyone. So environmental or otherwise, but without getting too sidetracked, the microplastics are, they're exactly what they sound like. They're just tiny fractions of, very, very, very tiny. Obviously, you can't see them. Pieces of plastic that get into your body via the air, the water, your skin, and basically any other way that things can get into your body. The skin being one that people probably don't think about that often, and I'll talk about this in a second, and maybe more in like the last section here. But the products that you use, makeup, creams, any other kind of self-care products like that. One of the big differences between the microplastics conversation and the seed oils conversation is that to a large extent, microplastics are unavoidable. You could in theory like just easily avoid seed oils. Like I said, you don't buy things that have seed oils in them, and therefore you avoid them. Like they're not getting into things without you knowing. It's not just floating around in the air, and every time you breathe in, you're breathing in seed oils. It doesn't happen like that. Microplastics, though, they are everywhere, right? They are in the air, they are in the water, they leach into things, and they're found on anything that has anything that has plastic, including, and one example that I heard that I didn't even think about is like when a car hits the brakes, like the brake pad pushes against the rotor, and brake dust goes into the air. That has microplastics in it because of whatever the materials that are made those things are made of. And so that goes into the air, and so you're breathing it. And various exhaust from cars, from buildings, from dryer vents. Like your clothes have plastic and polyester in them, unless they're 100% organic cotton, like this 6th T-shirt, by the way. Your clothes have various forms and amounts of plastics in them for the most part, and your dryer vents outside, and it gets heated up, and those like tiny little shards of microplastics get shed and pushed into the air, and so you breathe those in. They're in the water through the water supply. If you have plastic water bottles, like I said, the coffee cups, if you get a coffee, and heat in plastic is really bad because that's what breaks it down and makes it go even more. So why you shouldn't, if you use plastic Tupperware, which you probably shouldn't, you heat that. You don't want to be heating that plastic up if you're warming something up in the microwave or whatever. It's overall just it's everywhere, and it's quite unavoidable. Now, they can get in again through the water, through the food, through the air, through everything. And they're stored in various places in your body, all over your body, up to and including in your brain and in your balls for guys. And that's more of a big deal as this does start to affect reproduction and hormone health and all these kind of things. What they do in a nutshell, because who cares, right? If these things are just stored in your body and they just do nothing, like, why would anyone care about this? Now, obviously, nothing would just be stored randomly and just be doing nothing. It's obviously taking up space from something. It's disrupting something. And in a nutshell, that is what it's doing. It's very slowly and very subtly, like I said at the beginning, this is not some gigantic thing that's like, oh my God, you had some microplastics and now your body is broken. That's not the case. It's a very, very, very small percentage of things that it's doing, but over time, it'll certainly add up, and in conjunction with all the other things, it may or may not have some downstream effects. But it's very, very slowly, very, very subtly disrupting your body's normal function, your hormones, your organs, nutrient transfer, basically anything that your body does, because it's getting in everywhere and in regular amounts, or regular frequencies rather. It is very slowly, very subtly affecting a little bit of everything. Now, again, sounds like a pretty big issue, but it's very, very, very little. If this was major, we'd all have tons of microplastics. There was one thing that came out that said we consume about a credit card's worth of microplastics every year? I'm trying to remember now what it was, but whatever it was like a credit card's worth of microplastics every so often. And you'd think I would obviously never eat a credit card. That seems like a crazy amount of plastic, and you'd seem like that would really affect you if you ate a credit card. Obviously don't do that. But if you did that, you feel like my stomach would feel bad, like I would have some pretty negative effects. But it turns out that maybe we do have that much plastic in our body, and we don't even know it. But we're not just dropping dead walking down the street, all of us. So there's some give and take here. Again, the answer is in the middle. So what do we do about this? Like I said, you can't really affect it because it's kind of, or you can't really avoid it totally because it's kind of just everywhere. You worry about the big things first, right? One of the best ways to expel the microplastics is by sweating. And I don't know if this is news to you, but when you exercise, you sweat. And so that's a very good thing. And so you can get some of the microplastics out of your body as far as a detox process just by sweating. And you might say, well, I can just use the sauna. And that's great. That would also help. Sauna is also very healthy and good for other things. And you certainly can and should use a sauna if you have access to it. But not everyone does. And exercise, like if you had to choose between, well, should I only exercise or should I only sauna, for way other reasons not related to microplastics, you should be exercising because it's going to have way bigger, more far-reaching effects, positive effects on your body than using the sauna is. So beyond kind of the basic stuff of trying to eat healthy foods from good quality sources, trying to keep your home clean, trying to avoid unnecessary intakes and trying to exercise and all that stuff to make sure your body's detoxing. The only other thing you can do, again, is like minimize exposure a little bit. Unless you live in a forest by yourself, you're never going to get it to zero. So you just got to minimize it. And so it's things like this, things like I already mentioned, trying not to drink out of plastic water bottles, trying not to store food in plastic containers, having clean air in your home, having clean water, limiting exposure to all plastic things, including the clothes that you wear, like I mentioned before, the towels that you use, the bed sheets that you sleep in, including the mattress material, the mattress that you sleep on, eating with plastic cutlery if you're eating out often, the cups of coffee that are plastic lined. It's really the lid of the coffee is still plastic, is still fully plastic, and there's hot liquid going through that. So it's like, yeah, are you never going to get a coffee out anymore? Like, no, I'm not going to never buy a coffee to go ever again. But if you're having like several of these every single day, then yeah, like it starts to add up. And again, is this a big thing that you really need to be like super worried about? No. But once you get past kind of the like, okay, I'm at a healthy body fat percentage, I have a healthy amount of muscle, like I feel good, all those other things are in check, I'm sleeping good, whatever, then yeah, you can start to, play around and fiddle with these things a little bit. So really, trying to avoid just anything that you can think of that is like a little bit plastic, which is a lot of things. You try to avoid or limit your exposure or sub out that thing for a glass or stainless steel version of that, or a cotton version of that, or just a more natural more natural material is the word I was looking for that product. And so again, helpful to do, nice to do. Are you going to notice any difference with this? Are you going to feel tangibly different? Like probably not, because it's not that big of a swing either way. It's not like you're actually eating a credit card's worth of plastic every single day. If you were, you'd probably feel like shit, and not doing that would make you feel good, but you're not doing that. It's very, 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 very little. And like they call them microplastics, like microparticles or nanoparticles, which I don't even know how small that is, but obviously you can't like see this with your eyes. So it's very small and very little amounts of that. So yeah, not going to make a huge tangible difference, but like over time, like would you rather your hormones in your body just be functioning a little bit more efficiently and a little bit better? Like yeah, but probably that's probably a good thing. But if you remove all the microplastics in your body and you are still 38% body fat, like it's just not helping you, and like you've got way bigger things to worry about as far as your health goes. So that's that. Last thing we'll talk about is kind of like the environmental toxins, endocrine disruptors, including things like tap water. Microplastics not the only thing that's like floating around and that we can't avoid, that are just part of our environment, part of the air, part of the water, part of the whatever. Now these things, again, very similar conversation here to the microplastics. They're not judgmental. They kind of add up over time. You can't totally avoid them. What do? They subtly in various ways like affect our hormones, and this is like endocrine disruption. Endocrine is like your hormone system, more or less, and so things that will affect your hormone function. For this category, it's a lot of like the products that we use rather than things that we consume. So it's your soap, your deodorant, your creams and makeup. laundry detergent, which is, soap, I guess. But like all of the stuff that you use, a lot of things that you put on your skin or use to various cleaning products, and they have various chemicals in them that are endocrine disrupting, right? And so this mainly affects, not mainly, but like they say that these are like estrogenic or xenoestrogen molecules or products or things that are in them. And what that does is like up your estrogen production and or suppress your testosterone production, which is like more relevant for men, but like it's also relevant for females because females still have testosterone, just not as much as men. And you want these things to exist in a balance. You don't want either of them to be too high or too low. There are ratios to things. That's an interesting thing about hormones and stuff in general, is that it's a lot of things in your body. They exist in certain ratios. And so sometimes like the total amount is not as important as like, as long as it's in balance, it's okay. But separate topic. But so, a lot of the products, hair products, soap, all that stuff, candles, anything that is going to affect the air, anything that is going to go on your skin, all of these kind of things. Now, they're not all bad. Obviously, some of them, there's the natural products that are made with more natural ingredients and without fragrances and without coloring and with, again, more natural ingredients. And these things are going to be less likely to contain some of these endocrine disruptors, or if they contain it, it will be less of them or less harmful type of thing. Now, the catch here is like, and one of the big criticism of them is that they don't work, right? I tried the natural deodorant and like it doesn't work. I still stink. Or I tried the natural soap, it doesn't work. I obviously personally haven't tried it, but I don't know anything about like the more natural makeup products, whether they work or not. My best guess is that on average they're probably like less good, but I'm sure that there are good enough ones out there. You just gotta try and see which ones work for you and with your body. Like I've tried a number of different soaps and deodorants and I won't say hair products, but beard products. And eventually I found ones that were good. There were a bunch of them that were just shit. Like it doesn't really help. It doesn't solve my problem if the soap doesn't clean, or if the thing doesn't work the way it's intended to do. It's the way it's intended to work. I also need the product to work. And so some of them suck and they're natural and healthy and whatever, but they don't actually do their job, in which case, what's the point of that? So you got to, experiment and try and find some stuff that will work for you. And, the products that work for me, for whatever reason they work for my body, they might not work for your body, for your skin, or for your hair, or for whatever. So you got to, do some guess and check and find the things that work for you. Now, the other downside of it is like sometimes they're a little bit more expensive. I don't think they're that much more expensive. They're not. It's not like a natural deodorant is like $300. Like it might be $10 instead of $5, and you can go on percentages and be like, yeah, it's twice as expensive. And sure, but like we're talking about $5 here. And so if that little bit of money doesn't matter to you, or if you just value it a little bit more, or you're trying to get on this side of health and being a little bit on the fringe, and all the other big things are taken care of, then yeah, it's definitely worth it. But the far and away the bigger downside is just like finding the stuff that works for you. But you will definitely find things that work for you. It might just take you a few iterations and a few wasted products on the front side. Like everything else, this shouldn't consume you. You shouldn't be overly worried about like, oh my God, all these products have like such and such in it, and this smell and this ingredient or this whatever. If you're at this point where the rest of your health is taken care of, you're in good shape, and I know I've said this 17 times this episode, but it's important to hammer this home. If you're generally in good shape, you have good muscle mass, you have sufficiently low body fat percentage, you're moving well, you're eating good foods, you're sleeping well, all those things, and you start to take care of this stuff, then yeah, start to switch out all your products. Use an air purifier, use a water purifier of some sort, a water filter. You try to just limit your exposure to the toxins that are just in the air, in the water, in the products that you use, because they're all there. They're going to be there, where unless you're going to go live in the forest by yourself, which you're not, you're going to be exposed to some of these environmental toxins, and they're going to have various levels of effect and various types of effects on your body, most of which are probably not really tangible, but some of which may manifest in various ways, either in the short term or more likely in the long term. So again, not something you need to like super concern yourself with, but definitely something that's like, yeah, it's not nothing. So there's something here to be concerned about with. Another sneaky little benefit of all of this stuff, as I start to wrap this up, of like, switching out your products and paying more attention to these things, buying new stuff, it's very similar to the effect of buying supplements or buying new workout gear, new clothes, or new shoes or something like that, where it makes you feel like, oh yeah, like I'm doing the thing, like I'm doing all the health stuff, like I feel good. So if I'm gonna spend a couple $100 on a water purifier, if I'm gonna switch my deodorant for like more healthier deodorant, and switch my shower soap for better shower soap, then are you really gonna like not go to the gym? Are you really gonna like order, like you're gonna spend all this time to get all this like healthy purification stuff and then just like order McDonald's? Like, are you really gonna do that? Like, probably not. You might still, and not never, but you're more likely to also make some other choices. So this is counter to what I was saying, where it's like, take care of the big stuff first, and you definitely should do that. But as you start to embark on that journey, wherever you are in that journey, if you're looking for like some renewed motivation, some new thing to kind of keep you going, or something else to like just focus on and distract you a little bit from the main stuff that can get boring and monotonous, sometimes doing some of this stuff can just be like, oh yeah, like we're on the path, like we're doing something positive here, we're doing something that's going to make me feel better or make me healthier. And to the extent that it actually has an effect, who knows? It's very little at best, and you're spending some money on it for sure. The same as supplements, right? Like I don't think supplements are certainly not the answer to your fitness problems, but as long as they're not like some crazy, unhealthy, bad thing, which most of them are not. Like at worst, usually supplements are like just ineffective, or not what they claim to be in the product, and it's kind of more of like a sugar pill than like an actual useful thing. The shitty supplements. So you're wasting some money on that, and that's up to you to decide whether you want to spend that money on that or not. But if spending $30 a month on some like crappy supplement is the thing that like, for whatever reason, that's like the straw that breaks the camel's back to you, that like, okay, I know that I'm spending money on this supplement, I know that I'm taking this, and it makes me feel good by some real or placebo effect or some combination of the two, then I'm going to make sure that I go to the gym. I'm going to make sure that I focus on my recovery. I'm going to make sure that I eat healthy after the gym. I'm going to make sure that I get to sleep on time. I'm going to make sure I get my steps in every day. I'm going to make sure I drink enough water. If that's like the little thing that just adds to it for you, and again, it could be supplements, could be, you bought a new pair of workout shoes that you will really want to try out and you're like excited to use them, or you bought a new workout outfit, which personally doesn't do anything for me, but I know that helps a lot of people. If these little things help you kind of stick to the big things, then that can be a gigantic sort of tangent of a benefit from them. Like, yeah, they're certainly having like some minor positive effects on your health, but if they help you stick to the big things, then that's overwhelmingly a good thing. So I hope that this helps kind of to, just to level out the conversation here, where you don't have to be so overly concerned. You certainly don't have to be fearful of any of this stuff, but it's a mistake to say that you should just completely, entirely ignore it, and that it has no value to your life to care about these things, and you should just straight drink the tap water out of heated up water bottles and use all the regular fragrance-ridden colored products and drink everything plastic. And you can do that and things will probably be okay, maybe. But like, if you're ready to kind of just like be a little bit healthier, it'll be a little bit cleaner, and it's going to help you in some roundabout way to stick to all the other stuff a little bit better. The things like your actual exercise routine, your actual nutrition plan, your actual sleep plan, all those things, then that's when it's gonna start to make an actual world of a difference. So in isolation, not gonna move the needle a ton, but in a roundabout way, in consideration with all the other big things that you should be doing, it can definitely move the needle a lot, because the exercise, the sleep, the food that you're eating, those are the things that are going to move the needle a heck of a lot and actually change your life and change your physique and improve your health. So to a tangible degree. So yeah, dial the normal things in, train hard, sleep hard, eat real foods, all those good things. Don't be too fat, go outside, walk, see the sun, go to sleep early, all those good things. You can never do too much of all that. And then you start to worry about these little things. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this was a little bit insightful and eye-opening. If you have questions, obviously feel free to reach out. This is not, this is not the entire conversation. Obviously this will continue to be talked about, but always just come back to this conversation. Just remember this lens of if this was so scary, why aren't we all dead yet? And if it doesn't matter, why are some people reporting some positive effects? Are they trying to just scam me, sell something, or is there something real here? And, like always, the answer is a little bit in the middle. So I'm happy to try and be the voice of reason and logic a little bit here and just help guide that conversation. So appreciate you listening. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star rating, always. What else do I got to say? I don't know. Download some free stuff that's in the description of the episode. Free workout program, join the newsletter, protein cheat sheet, all those good things. It'll all help you. And that's that. Go outside. Be a good person. See you next time.